And then I just say,
That's
so
correct,
for the
yes.
benefit of you, Rodney, I'm on with Angus, and Angus has been kind enough to do a review of our new deck. And ultimately, we're sort of saying, yep, first page, fine, obviously. Second page, good. But we're now just talking about on the right-hand panel, it says this is an introduction to the concept of passive income. And it should say of passive income, of course, not just concept passive income.
Yeah. Hi, Rodney. Sorry, Peter.
Yeah, go on, Angus, please.
Hi, Rodney. I love to look at this whole slide deck. I think it's good. So it has the same feel as Peter's website. I find the whole thing, really quite compelling. I've just picked up a few issues, fresh eyes. That's all. That I think just need a bit of attention. So just in this right-hand panel, the white background, just a typo or an omission, should be the concept of passive income. But then I struggle with the 1 to 3 because enumerating them like that suggests that they belong together. In a way, they don't. Yes, you've got to say this is not financial advice, blah blah, but maybe that could be unenumerated and just in a separate box somewhere below. Not hidden, broad daylight, but separate. It's not really part of the flow, I don't think. So then what's left? The concept generates passive income streams. So go back to that first heading bolded sentence. This is an introduction to the concept of passive income. And then number 2, the concept generates passive income streams. I don't think the concept generates passive income streams. There's just some structural failure there that sort of is defying my logic. Anyway, I'm happy to be told otherwise. I'd be more inclined to say something like the concept, and I guess the concept is the lean-in trilogy, is first you've got to explain what passive income is. It's unexplained on this page. Some people will know it, some people will not. Some people might know it but have a bad flavor with it because they've only been exposed to it on some, MLM or something that's not made them happy in the past. That's where a lot of people have heard the term from. Although, it's correctly applied to any investment, high finance investments, passive income to get dividends from stocks, but, stockbrokers don't really call it that, do they? So I don't know, I'd be more inclined to move the financial advice thing to just separate box somewhere. And then this is an introduction to the concept of passive income. Passive income is blah, blah, blah. What is it? And then move on to a new dot point or number that says, and the full concept is to bundle, perhaps, or whatever word you can think of that works, but to bundle a series of suitable passive income streams for your purposes in order to create a balanced portfolio of passive incomes, plural. Something like that. I'm not saying these words are right. This didn't explain it for me, and it was just things that didn't relate together, 1, 2, and 3. So moving on to number 3, welcome to tomorrow. Welcome to tomorrow. I just thought, I actually wrote this down. I made some notes this morning, so excuse me whilst I find them. Sorry, dead air is never good. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah,
I know you're not there. I know you're not there, Rodney, but oh heavens.
This is really just a masterminding exercise so that between the 3 of us, hopefully with each of our inputs, we've got something which is really solid, because we want to make sure that what we are creating is communicated effectively, I suppose is the right word. And that's why I think it's helpful to have your eyes on this, Angus. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to Tomorrow just ended a bit dead and didn't really say anything, but perhaps something like welcome to a new tomorrow, to a new tomorrow, is more invocative. Welcome to tomorrow. Everyone's going to wake up tomorrow just about, but not everyone's going to wake up to a new tomorrow. If you have any questions, yeah, obviously that's all. And so, okay, so that was it. It didn't flow for me, that panel, and they're my suggestions for that panel.
Yeah, no, thank you. So next slide, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Be even better if I can make it go to the next panel. There we go. Need to press the right.
Okay. I love this. This looks good. It makes you want to look at it, makes you want to read it. It's lovely. My comments about this is I didn't like the left and right concept. I get it. You've got to split them and separate them. The moment I saw left and right, I know there's some explanation down to the left, bottom left, but you're drawn to the diagram first. So I'm looking at the diagram going left, right. What does that mean? It's not immediately obvious, but also, I don't know, it just makes me think of MLM. It looks like, oh, is this MLM like a left leg, a right leg? Just turns me off. Maybe they're better off being called, channel A and channel B or something else. I just struggle with left and right. Nothing intrinsically wrong with them with that at all. I just struggled with it. That's just a comment.
So it's a subliminal thing for you where you hear the word left and right, you're thinking MLM really.
In combination with that diagram is attractive, capturing and attention grabbing as it is, and lovely as it is. It is slightly like an inverted pyramid, like MLM.
Right.
And then you add the words left and right, and you sort of go, oh. So no one who's had any experience with MLM would think that, but anyone who has been touched by MLM and who has any negative feelings about it might look at that and go, oh, it's MLM, and not go any further.
Okay.
This may be a bit out of left field, but and it might only relate to a small percentage of people, but I don't know. That's how it hit me initially. Yet everything else about that page, the diagrammatics and then the explanation on the left, is great. That was the only thing that's the only comment I had.
Yeah, no, lovely. So on to the next slide.
Yep. Oh, there might have been one thing back there, Peter. Sorry.
There we go.
Oh yes, it's just it's just a typo, grammatical something or other thing. First paragraph there. Left and right of your income streams are illustrated to show the importance of diversity in your passive income portfolios. Would it be plural, or are you going when you come on board with Peter Boulton and take a raft of these products, some in your left channel, some in your right channel? Is it one portfolio or is it a number of portfolios? I just think that should be portfolio singular. That's all.
Yes, I think on reflection, I think I would agree with you. So again, Rodney, we'll see what Rodney's going to say on that, because there might be a different way of looking at it. But this is
there might be. I mean, jump into the Oxford
English
Dictionary and correct me if I'm wrong. I could easily be wrong.
Yeah, no, this is great because it's this different perspective of looking at something which, Rodney and I both looked at quite a lot. And in fact, this is where we got to, because there were a couple of previous iterations which both of us talked through and agreed that we would change. So we feel that we're closer to the perfect document. So this is why it's helpful to have your input as a somebody that hasn't seen it before at all, and to get
Yeah.
those impressions, because ultimately everybody we send this out to will be people that haven't seen this before, and they could be interpreting things in the same way as you. We want to give it the strongest impact that we can, obviously. So
Yeah, because the moment you create little mind jags like that, it slowly erodes credit.
yeah,
And if you can avoid those little jags, then you've got a better chance of getting to contact.
yeah,
Look, I almost didn't mention this, and I didn't bother taking a note about it because I thought about it this morning, and then as I went down, I went, oh, in the next couple of pages, you explain what I figured out from the front page that the T is for trilogy, but I didn't know what C or F or R were. Looking at this page, I go, oh, R, reservoir, that must be that. And C and F up the top. I mean, I worked out without scrolling that it's probably crypto and Forex, but no one else, people would not necessarily know. So it sort of just creates a question mark going, well, where's my explanation for C and F? Or maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that goes, oh, okay, well, I'll keep reading because I'm sure they'll explain it a bit further on, which of course you do. I'm just raising that as whether that is a snag or a jag or not at all.
yeah. No, great. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, that next page. Love the diagram. And I had seen Rodney's earlier iteration of this commentary here on an earlier slide deck a few months ago.
Okay.
Hard fiat currency, pounds, dollars, rand, and yen. I think the proper punctuational formation, if you're using etc. at the end, is you would eliminate the ampersand and just have a comma between rand and yen, and then a comma after yen before etc.
Okay.
I think. Check the dictionary, but I think that's correct. Can no longer say. In effect, the value of the pound in your pocket no longer affects the price. I would just say, okay, so I know you've got a lot of focus in the UK, but presumably you'll be stretching your wings outside of Britain.
Yep.
And good to say pounds, dollars, rand, and yen. In that next paragraph, I would change the word pound to cash, because then you can cover all the currencies, and cash is quite a strong word.
Yeah, absolutely. So that would go in.
So in effect, the value of the cash in your pocket no longer reflects its promised.
See. Yeah, good idea. Yep.
Okay, term fee. Oh yeah, and the term fee Latin word is often translated "it shall be" or "let it be done." For just how long can it be done? I agree with all that, except the opening of the inverted commas need to move into open at it, because that's the quote. You're quoting from the quote.
Got it.
So can has to stand alone and move the inverted commas to just before the I of it.
Yeah.
What will replace it? Yeah. Yep. I don't think there's anything. What will replace it? Good question. You could also ask, though, depending which way you want to slant it, is you could say, what is replacing it? Because is it correct? I don't know the answer, but is it correct that the process of replacement is actually already underway? So if you change that to what is replacing it, I mean, the fact that you've asked a question, but you've also made a statement by implication that, look, this is happening, guys. It's not something off in the future, is actually happening now. So it makes it more urgent and more real and more now and current for someone to think about. And these are minor things I'm saying, but I guess they're just subliminal.
Yeah, no, very good. Okay.
Okay, and cloud minting. Yeah, I just trading needs to close off its inverted comma.
Yes, okay, yeah.
That was all on that page. Oh yeah, this is not unlike, or it may even be identical to what Rodney showed us some months ago.
Okay.
So, and that's the technical stuff that, you know, I'm not that on top of. So I read through that. I thought, yeah, it was a more comprehensible version. If it's changed at all, or maybe I've just got smarter in the last few months. That made more sense to me than when I read the similar version some months ago. So I think that's good. But I can't comment on it much because it's sort of outside my knowledge.
Okay. I mean, I liked it in the way that I thought Rodney had been really clever here to be able to have just one page and summarize so much within a relatively small number of words.
Oh yeah, I was really pleased to read that. I thought, wow, you've contained it exactly that on one page, and the spacing and the minimal number of dot points. I'm going, oh, I'm happy to read that. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not bored. I can get through that.
Yeah,
I agree. One question, just the second dot point, the cloud minting contracts start from. Why have we got €500 and then everything else is in dollars? There may be a reason for that? I'm not sure.
no, there's not. Well done. Yeah, that's a good one to pick up. So they would actually, well, actually, yeah, it's interesting because €500 is what you can start with Wee Global. And of course, within this presentation, we're not mentioning the individual company names, but one might argue that within cloud mining, you can then start with $1,000 with Hyperverse as an example. So I don't know whether Rodney has been deliberately clever there, showing euros and then going into dollars, or whether that's a typo, that actually it should all read either euros or dollars. Don't know. Good question, Rodney.
yeah. You might need to stick in the word either there, from either da and then up to whatever.
Yeah. Well, I wonder even if there's a way of taking out the dollar and the euro sign completely, but having an equivalent sign that shows that the 500, the 1,000, the 2,500, up to the 100,000 are currency units without necessarily saying what sort of currency it is. But
well, I think you can say it starts from. I don't know which platforms that's confined to, but whatever the lowest entry point in dollar terms is for whatever platform, that can be used. It starts from that. It might be a bit higher if you talk them through a number of platforms. They go, I want that one. Okay, well that's $1,000 or it's €1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the minimum was 500. Oh yes, it is, but that's for that platform which we talked about. Yeah. So that's fair enough. You can just put in the lowest one.
Yes. I think, however, we're getting too deep. What you've done is you've identified which might be just a typo, because when we talk about the cloud minting contracts, cloud minting is a language exclusively really used by Wee Global, and Wee Global is sold in euro packs. So I think it should be €500, €1,000, €2,500, and €100,000. So yeah, but okay.
Well, let me put. Yeah, look, it may be going way too deep, but then that just raises the question. Then as this is meant to be a very generic first point of contact look, would you have this slide in here at all? I didn't think of this morning, but now that you say that, why have this in at all at this point? Because you really only need to have this in once you get to the point of talking people through, a couple of platforms, and if they seem to think Wee Global is for them, then that's the time to go deeper.
Yeah, no, good question. I mean, there's almost two presentations here in one. Maybe the first one might be that it's only how many pages we've got here. Maybe it's only like 6 pages to give literally a very brief introduction to the trilogy. And then we have a second one, which then includes this kind of more detailed information so that people start to understand a bit more. So we could look at that and find out whether that's practical to split it into 2, or whether we're not giving them enough information if we don't give them some of the detail like we are here.
I mean, just thinking out loud, but exactly that.
Yes.
Maybe strip this one down a bit and take out this this more complicated stuff. Then create, a small introductory slide deck, a Peter Boulton version for each of your platforms offers.
Yes.
And then, I mean, this is entirely up to you, of course, but then after that, once they get an interest, then you flick them the corporate presentations, obviously, because then they get fully avowed of the information.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, I'm thinking then again on this, and this is great that we're talking through it like this on a recording so that the three of us can hear our thoughts. But in the same way, did I send you the video, Angus, of me talking about compound interest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it might be that I do a video which introduces the trilogy as a concept, which in effect is a more basic version of the information that's in this presentation. And almost the free offer is, click here to receive your free, not that we'd call it a PowerPoint deck or whatever else, but free introductory
info kit.
Yeah, something that helps people to understand a bit more, because of course, once they click on that, and if I'm using it as a video advert and I haven't yet got their email address, then that's obviously where we could capture the email address and name of that person if they ask for this, that we can then start remarketing to as well. So that might be a very clever move, actually.
Yeah, tell me this, which I think you just touched on. Do all of the platforms, all of your offerings, all have compound interest as the the driver of the making of the money?
Yeah, the technical answer, because I'm talking to a lawyer here this morning, is
I'm taking my lawyer hat off.
okay, but I mean the technical answer is no. But out of the 8 platforms, if I said which ones were technically compounding, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 8 do apply compound interest. The other 3, it's like compounding, but it's not really compounding in the way that you can then purchase further contracts, which you can with WeWe Global.
Right.
And the effect is you get actually better than compounding, because each pack you buy gets tripled in its value and promised to you in 900 days.
Okay. Well, what about then? Point of that question was to say, okay, well, what about if you strip out the slightly technical stuff like the cloud mining page we're looking at here, and really focus on compound interest, or what you might call super compound interest for the one you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And just say, so you're melding the concepts of passive income with compound interest. And so passive income, minimal time, minimal effort, high tech AI, compound interest, all those concepts without going into any detail. I mean, you mentioned that, you might mention that some of the offerings you have are in cryptocurrency, in the stock market, in Forex, and in a number of different ways to tantalize them. But go into none of the details of any of those categories until they come to you on compound interest, AI, passive income, time freedom, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think there's a lot in that. And again, that's just the benefit, as always. I mean, even for Rodney and I, when we get together and we talk, it's like you and I talking in the same way here. We're kind of opening our minds and sort of almost, what's the word I'm looking for? Data dumping ideas and thoughts. And I think there's a lot of value in what we're doing here this morning, Angus, because there's certain things which I think we can pull out and do something with. Ultimately, starting with the end in mind, what are we trying to do? We're trying to communicate to people through something like a deck of people that want to read information, and also through, let's say, video, the opportunity for people to kind of have what I call the eureka moment, which is like, oh, I can make money. I mean, that's what we're trying to help people to do, because of course on the inside, as we are, it's like, why wouldn't you want to increase your income, your profits, or your net worth? But for a lot of people, they need a bit more than that to kind of go, oh, right, yeah, hadn't thought of, didn't even know that sort of thing. And it's trying to get that communicated rather than the detail on how you build a team and what you get for your uni level bonus and all this sort of stuff, which I don't think is irrelevant, but it's not relevant in the early stage of talking to people to help them.
No,
started.
that's just glaze over. That's just glaze over stuff.
Yeah.
It's got to be kept tighter and more simple than that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've taken a lot from that page. So let's move on from there, because I'm just slightly conscious of time. But when we get into the Forex trading, so obviously what we've tried to do here is we've tried to show, let's go back. We're talking about cloud minting here. Then we're talking about Forex trading. That's the idea here.
Yeah.
Anything particular on that slide itself before we move on to the next one?
No, no, not at all. And that goes to it. So we talked a bit about cloud minting / crypto, a bit about Forex. So people have an idea of what you're talking about in very broad terms, which is all you need at this point. So yeah, the next slide.
So this is when we're talking a little bit more detail about the Forex rather than the crypto as we did earlier, of course.
Well, again, so this is where if we follow the principle we just talked about, then you'd probably pull this one off this slide deck, because you're starting to get technical about, what does it say? Well, actually, okay. This is 1 through to 4 is pretty simple, probably vaguely intelligible. No, I mean, it's completely intelligible as in English, but it's probably intelligible as a concept to most people. 0.5, isn't that premature to have any pricing out there?
Yeah, I think I agree with you, actually. I was just reading that and thinking that we don't necessarily need to talk about pricing at this stage if we are assuming the deck's purpose is to get people to engage with us. And one of the questions people might ask is, well, how much does this cost? And of course, there are different costs or no costs in the 8 different things we're working on. So by mentioning one of them in here.
Well, having said that, though, I mean, I failed to say the same thing on the cloud minting when we were actually just talking about exactly that, about the 500 euros. Pricing, I mean, I'm not a marketing sales expert by any means, but normally pricing is not, it's often kept into the second line of contact, isn't it, rather than the first line of contact?
Yes.
Although, I mean, what Rodney's done, I think, just saying the starting price from 235 plus 149 a month, or from 500 euros, or $700, whatever that is. And I think you should keep it in one currency, and mostly on the internet, as we all know, it's in USD. I would talk in USD unless you're planning only to work in Britain.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting concept in itself, or subject to discuss, that because We Global is in euros, most of the other platforms are in pounds. Some of the platforms accept Bitcoin to get in to actually make the final purchase. So we're then exchanging the dollars or the euros for Bitcoin. So
then the way to handle that is to put it in to the starting price from, if it's a euro platform, put in the euro, or a pound platform, put in the pound, but in brackets after that, put the US dollar equivalent.
Yes.
So you've got one standardization all the way through.
Interesting.
And plus you make all the Americans happy, because, they can't cope with anything else.
Oh, which if I'm only sharing this deck with Rodney.
Yes, I know who my audience is. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Okay. All right. That's
all right.
good idea.
So yeah, so then okay, and then
So this again is a bit like the crypto as I see it, that we sort of did the first page, then we did the second page with a bit more detail, and the third page tries to get, more understanding of what's actually going on here.
yeah. So but I'm not sure what this one is. What is this one? It's 4x again.
Yeah, because again, we're trying to keep it generic in a way and say accessing the 6.6 billion market. And actually, I just have to think to myself,
what market is the question? And then this platform, what platform? This is a platform. What platform? If you're saying, okay, now we're talking about a new platform compared to the page before, then you'd have to name it and say, this is a platform engineered by our host. So I think you need to.
Yeah, because this one
because
here,
this doesn't this page doesn't distinguish itself as anything different to the first two pages, I don't think.
Yeah. I think the thing is, for us, we know what the particular platform is, which obviously we're not telling people here.
That's right. So this page, the cloud minting page, they kind of belong in slide deck 2 as you start splitting down into the finer detail of different platforms.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, this is really helpful to kind of go through this, because I think we are getting almost two presentations into one. And I would almost sort of say that if we had the Trilogy concept, which is part of this deck, and then actually from that, it then feeds into more company specific platform, so that we wouldn't necessarily mention the words of WeWe Global or Hyperverse or CFX or e-economy or whatever else, but that there could be a trade-off to sort of say, from the Trilogy, here's one of the opportunities in a completely separate presentation, a little bit like the Launch You workshop series from Stuart Ross, that actually when they kind of go, yes, I want the free workshop series, click the button, give the email address and the name, we then send out every 24 hours another video, or in this instance, it might be the next deck presentation, and each of those in effect is presenting the company and the product opportunity without naming them within those presentations. This being one of them, this is actually one for what's called e-economy.
is this the stock market one?
No, this one's not. The stock market one ultimately is going to be the reservoir.
Oh, that's right, because that was going to be my next question to you, which I wrote down this morning, is where's the stock market one? So
yeah.
I see. So that's a conversation you and I haven't had. So you're turning that into the reservoir.
Yeah. Well, this is again why it was helpful for me not to give you any information about what the deck was. Just, can you review and give me your thoughts, please?
Yeah, sure. And that makes sense. Are you including in this whole thing online businesses for people, like the Launch You opportunity?
No. What we're doing here, really, the Trilogy is about the investable opportunities rather than the income generating opportunity of marketing, digital marketing, affiliate marketing. So here we're really trying to say, it's a great question, because it's helping me to reflect on what we're trying to do here. For me, this is more just about.
Okay, I get that, but can I ask this question? Is that investment in a business is an investment, and what you get out of it is income, and what you're offering is income, profits, and net worth, starting with income. Yeah. So I wonder if I'm just thinking out loud. So I wonder if you wouldn't include that. If in this first slide deck, passive income, time freedom, artificial intelligence, internet technological skills, if you included LaunchU, across a variety of platforms that include cloud minting / cryptocurrency, forex, the stock market, and online businesses. Now, you might completely exclude the online business income side of it. I'm not trying to change your mind, but I'm just saying you could. It is a form of investment. It is a way someone to increase their income. And it would be quite intriguing for someone to see that all those platforms and ways of passive income, all using artificial intelligence or technological skills, if you brought LaunchU into it, and do a compound interest demo on this, because that was a fantastic presentation. So some form of tabulated, condensed version of that in this slide deck would be great. I find that quite exciting. I think what Rodney's got here is actually very close to where it needs to be. I think just probably pulling out the technical stuff and talking broadly about, hang on, what's the CrossX platform?
Yeah, so look, if we look at this part here, so every market fluctuates, often dramatically. Cross-platform trading switches between crypto and forex to spread the risk and maximize potential. Now, part of what we're thinking here is one of the 8 is actually a forex and crypto trading opportunity.
Have you found a new baby?
Yeah, maybe we haven't spoken about this one then.
I don't think we have. Okay, you are incorrigible. Okay, you can't be stopped.
Well, I'm trying to stop, yeah. So cross-platform, let's just read this here. Reflecting the importance of collaboration and networking, our host here has combined blockchain, crypto. Yeah, so this one, we're talking about a company called Novatech. And Novatech, actually, they are, in a way, it could be my favorite so far, because it combines crypto, it combines forex, and it also has the ability to take your money back out again, including your original capital. So I just share that with you as a thought. So what Rodney's doing here is he's helping to sort of say, and here's another of the passive income streams potentially, which is an investment opportunity. But he's now trying to sort of say, we've done crypto, we've done forex, but now actually there's also an opportunity, one of our hosts, one of the opportunities to be able to combine the two. So, I mean, that almost begs the question, well, why would you just do crypto or why would you just do forex when this opportunity could be available where I can actually do both? And part of the message we're trying to put out here, of course, is diversification, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. And that's the other thing with that grouping of passive income, freedom, artificial intelligence. That's the other thing, diversification and compound interest and diversification.
Yeah.
Those are your headlines, it seems to me. And then, okay, well, then what are the vehicles? They're the headlines that the vehicles are all these different platforms.
Yeah. Okay, so equity reservoir, then that's really, I'm just conscious of time because we've got another call at the top of the hour. So we've got about 9 minutes left. So here the idea was to talk about the equity reservoir or asset reservoir. I think equity works well, but I had got a question mark whether we might use the word asset. But your reservoir can be anything, and it actually says here, building society, bonds, equities. The reservoir should be accessible and generate sufficient growth to continue your acceptable risk-reward strategy. So what we're trying to say there is if people are very low risk, but they can make money through crypto and forex and then put that money into a reservoir to build that reservoir up, if they're very low risk takers, they're unlikely to be doing business with us anyway, to be fair. But if they are very, very low risk takers, they might then want to put their money from their crypto and their forex opportunities into the building society, which of course is going to give them very little reward, less than 1% per annum in the UK. Or they could put it into things which are more risky, like bonds and equities. And actually what we're suggesting here behind the words is our stocks and shares and options opportunity that we have through what's called TICN, which is the Investors Club Network, which is in effect our 8th platform. So here it says the reservoir, the left and right of your income streams. So that then goes back to that first or second slide with the graphic on it, where you weren't so keen on the left and right because it sounds like multi-level marketing. The left and right of your income streams are illustrated to show the importance of diversity in your passive income portfolios. Your left could hold 2 or 3 income platforms, your right 1 or 2 perhaps. I mean, it's just, we're leaving it very open.
Yeah.
Your streams should flow into a reservoir that we have called an equity reservoir. These can be anything, building society, bonds, equities, whatever. The reservoir should be accessible and generate sufficient growth to continue your acceptable risk or reward strategy. So we're kind of repeating what we've already said in that last slide.
Yeah.
There are options which we can discuss once your streams are flowing as expected. And I think Rodney's done that quite well, because he's sort of saying you don't need a reservoir until you get your income streams going. But once you've got your income streams going, then it's probably good timing to make sure that you've got a reservoir in place to hold and protect the different incomes that are coming in from different places in one basket, as it were.
Yeah. So that makes sense, and it sounds like good strategy. Why would you not use the word bank there alongside building society?
Yeah, could do.
And why is the word stocks not used?
Yeah, interesting. Or shares, for that matter.
Or shares.
I mean, stocks and shares, I suppose, maybe Rodney's put under equities, and I could understand why.
Well, you could. Yeah. But I think equities is broader, isn't it? It can have a number of things as equities, whereas stocks and shares are, very specific.
Yes. I mean, I think, again, there's a danger in using too many words to overload people with information. So again, that's where I feel this deck has enough information without overdoing it that doesn't turn people off. Are we on to the last slide? Let's have a look. Yeah, so the disclaimer actually is the last slide, which is fine, I guess. You don't have any comments on that, do you, Angus?
I think I did have one. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll have to read it again. Yeah, that was it. So you should only trade with money you are willing to lose. I think it would be better framed as money you have the capacity to lose, or are both willing and have the capacity to lose. So I think there might be some people out there who are quite willing to lose their money, but probably shouldn't.
I think for me, this is an interesting statement, because in most of the disclaimers we've read from the different opportunities, they always talk about you're willing to lose. I'm not willing to lose anything.
No, well, that's it.
But I am willing to take some risk.
Yeah.
But again,
I think
this disclaimer.
It's funny language. I mean, I'm willing to go down to the betting shop and put $1,000 on some nag that is almost certainly going to lose. Clearly, I'm willing to lose my money.
Yes.
But do I have the capacity to throw away $1,000?
Yeah.
Anyway,
maybe we're slightly bound by this disclaimer being one that we were able to source that covers it well. But
yeah, that's fine. I thought that might be the case, but that did stand out to me.
Yeah. Okay, my friend, I'm going to sort of just finish and summarize quickly before I stop the recording. So, Rodney, really, this has just been super. And thank you, Angus, for your input on it. So in going through that, I think we have plenty to think about and decide on a variety of options, and maybe a variety of presentations, which we want to work on anyway. But I'll stop the recording there, and I'll send that to Rodney so that he can have a look at it. And then he and I are discussing things on Friday. So that will be very helpful. So if I do the stop the share, and I then stop the recording,